Welcome to In Between the Whistles. I'm Joe, your host of In Depth with Chap, and today we are talking about Peyton Thorne, the quarterback for Michigan State. This is a guy who was top 20 in touchdowns this year, in the upper echelon of the QBR, 3,200 yards, only 10 interceptions. There's a legitimate reason to think that Peyton Thorne could be a dark horse Heisman candidate. Now, I'm not saying he will be a Heisman candidate. I'm saying if you look at people off the board, you take someone who is vastly underrated. You look at his makeup. You look at the way he plays. You look at how he plays. You look at his weapons that he's going to have. Peyton Thorne would be up there. Peyton Thorne has the ability to become one of those guys that no one knows right now, but they will know. Because the way Peyton Thorne plays, it kind of reminds you of a guy like Matthew Stafford, a guy who is a gunslinger, will make the tough throws, and doesn't really worry about when he makes a mistake because he has that next play mentality. Peyton Thorne even said that after the Michigan State game, where he said, listen, it's next play mentality. His teammate, Jaden Reed, also said it's a next play mentality. When you look at this Michigan State team, and you look at the guys that are coming back, like Jaden Reed, you look at the guys coming in at the running back position, like Jalen Berger, Broussard, Elijah Collins will be healthy. And you would hope that at some point they could be a better offensive line, in front of him. But you look at the way that Peyton Thorne plays, and you say, how can Peyton Thorne be a guy who could be a dark horse Heisman candidate? He's a very underrated player. I was reading Alton's rankings of QBs in the Big Ten, and he was fourth behind the duo of Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy, which makes no sense. But that's besides the point. When you look at Peyton Thorne, one of the things that I was intrigued by was yesterday I talked to a scout, and he told me that one of the comparisons that he draws to Peyton Thorne, but he needs to see more. He sees him kind of as a Joe Burrow kind of light, where he's not as good right now because he had Joe Burrow had that one season that took him over the top, but you could see that he has the tools and the makeup to become that great quarterback. And when you look at Michigan State's history of the Kirk Cousins, the Connor Cooks, the Brian Hoyers, I think that Peyton Thorne could become the best of those guys. You look at the way Mel Tucker is building that program. You look at the guys that are going to be around him this year with Jalen Berger, Broussard, Jaden Reed could be one of the top wide receivers in the Big Ten. There's a very, very good chance that this Michigan State offense could be an elite unit. But the main part of it is looking at Peyton Thorne as a guy who could be that dark horse Heisman candidate that most people they're not talking about. And I think he could be that guy. One of the things I like about Peyton Thorne is when you watch the Miami game and he threw that dart in between the two defenders to Jaden Reed, that was an elite level throw. There is elite plays that come from quarterbacks. One of the main things that I think that is the biggest tool that a quarterback can use is when he has that ability to, when he makes a bad play, he doesn't think about it. He just says, you know what? Next play. I'll get it back. We'll get it back. This will be fine. That's what I like about Peyton Thorne. And that, for a while, Michigan State fans, there was a couple of them on Twitter that I follow up, they were not happy with him. But by the end of the year, they were happy with him. The one thing Peyton Thorne needs to get better at is consistency. When we talk about consistency, we talk about a guy that when he's good, he's good. Sometimes Peyton Thorne can come out of the gate. He's a little bit sluggish. I think that Peyton Thorne would be better if he's just consistent. He can, comes out and he plays well. Consistency is the key with Peyton Thorne in 2022. And I think if he improves that consistency, he could be a dark horse Heisman candidate. I would put money on him. I would put a $10 bill on him. Because if you look at the way Peyton Thorne plays, the tools he has around him, the guys he has around him, the coach he has, I think he could be a real special player in 2022. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.